Okay, welcome to the second module of Night 2, the 8th module overall. We'll be going over some different types of positioning based on where you are on the field. So goal line scenarios as well as reverse goal line scenarios. And then we'll be looking at punt mechanics as well. So in this graphic, the red dots are on offense and the green dots are on defense. So this is what we call goal line positioning. And this is when a team is inside of the other team's 20-yard line and they're trying to score a touchdown, and that is the zone line to gain. So that would be the yellow line there. So the line judge is going to remain on the line of scrimmage still. And then what you'll see a little bit differently is the field judge and the back judge. So the field judge is going to be responsible for determining whether or not the ball crosses the line in the end zone on close plays. So they will be mainly remaining on that line, and then the back judge will no longer be 20 yards down the field. They will just go to the end line, and they'll be ruling on out of bounds, inbounds plays in the back of the end zone there. Okay, so the referee, they're going to maintain that same 7-7. They have the whole field behind them, so they can remain there. More backfield and line play as the line judge leaves a snap. So the line judge is going to eventually, after the snap, make their way towards the end zone and view that goal line work on that side of the field, so that both them and the field judge have that, both have the goal line. So the referee is going to be responsible for more of the play at the line of scrimmage. And then they're going to mirror a touchdown signal to the sideline after the score. So the line judge and the field judge will determine whether or not it is a touchdown. And then if it is, the referee will go ahead and turn to the sideline and hold up that good touchdown signal. So when you are 10 yards and in as a line judge, like I mentioned, you will start at the line of scrimmage and then you will slide towards the goal line. And you try and stay in front of the play. So that way, when you have to determine whether or not it's a touchdown, that you're in good position. 7 yards and in, so if you're a little bit closer, you're going to go to the goal line right at the snap and then work back if it's short. So instead of trying to stay in front of the play and shuffling, as soon as it's snap, you're just going to sprint and go right to the goal line. And then if the play is short, then you'll work back and then get your spot at that point. The field judge, so like I mentioned, they're the goal line primary. All but 3 to 4 yards, they'll be directly in front of the line judge. So if it's 3 to 4 yards in, they'll both be kind of simultaneously looking at the goal line. But if they're outside of that, then they're going to be the only one that's starting the position there. So they'll start on the sideline. If the play is 12 yards or farther out, they can start their normal position. So that 6 to 7, that 10 to 12, anywhere in that range. And then they're going to get to the goal line. The back judge, anywhere inside the 20-yard line, they're going to start on that back end line, and they won't have to move a ton for goal line positioning. You will have catch, no catch in the corners and in the back of the end zone. So determining on a catch if somebody has a foot down or not. And you're going to communicate that with your partners with a good incomplete pass or a good touchdown signal. So you can move along the back line, determining or anticipating rather where the pass is going to be. And so that is goal line positioning and responsibilities. So reverse goal line positioning, that is when, so the red is on the offense and the green is on the defense, and they're going the opposite way. So you'll see the referee behind them. The field judge is on the zone line to gain there, so at the 20, and the line judge will remain on the line of scrimmage like normal. See that graphic at the snap, you'll see the line judge back up to the goal line, and then completed pass, they're going to run and take that spot at that point. So the referee being behind the play, if the ball is snapped between 10 and 15 yards, they will be starting on the goal line. If it's inside of the 10, then they'll be starting all the way in the back of the end zone. And then the line judge, if the goal line is inside of 10 yards, they're going to move back to that goal line, and they'll be primarily responsible for that at the snap. And then eventually they'll work back into the field to get some good spots if there is completed forward passes. The field judge, they're going to help out a lot with spots downfield, the field judge and the back judge, because the line judge is going to be so far towards the end zone. They're going to need a lot of help with spots downfield. And the field judge, like I mentioned, is primary for the zone line to gain. So they'll be largely standing on that 20-yard line and determining whether it's a first down or not on close plays. And they're going to have to help out over the middle because that line judge is so far back. They're going to have to take on some of that responsibility. And the same can be said for the back judge. with that line judge out of position, the field judge and the back judge are going to be heavily responsible for a lot of spots and plays downfield. What's really important when you're doing reverse goal line situations is having good communication, especially between the referee and the line judge, to determine who is going to be responsible for that goal line. So just have good signals and reminders. You can say you have the goal line, I have the goal line, either one, whatever works. Just be good and make sure that each official has an understanding of what they're responsible for going into the play. And we'll see this in the next clip. The line judge will be right in front of us, starting at the snap, and then you'll see him quickly move back to the goal line because they're inside of the 10-yard line, and we'll see that. So you'll see him step back. The ball's released fast, so we didn't have to stay there very long. And you'll see the field judge will go ahead and take that spot at that point and then pass it off to the line judge. So that is reverse goal line responsibilities. And now we'll get into a bit of punt positioning. So on a fourth down, if a team elects to punt, so we're going to switch up a little bit. So you'll see the field judge is much farther down the field. They'll be just in front of the pack of defensive receivers. So all those green dots in the back of the field there. Line judge will still be on the line of scrimmage, and they'll be making sure that neither the offense or the defense passes the line of scrimmage before the ball is kicked. And the back judge will be all the way in the back, parallel with or behind the deepest back. And they're going to have a big responsibility on muffs versus no muff situations. So we'll see a little graphic here. We'll see the back judge. That blue dot is representing a beanie, so he'll throw that down to where the punt was caught. Field judge goes and takes that spot. The line judge comes and will take that from them, and that way everybody can get into good position, and then you'll see them switch, put the pucks down, and then we're ready to play the next down. So the referee on punts, like we mentioned in one of the previous modules, they're responsible for announcing to both teams that a punt is happening and that they are not allowed to pass the line of scrimmage. And they'll also be ruling on the snap and the kick to make sure both of those are continuous. So the snap is a continuous motion as always, and the kick needs to be one fluid continuous motion as well. After the punt, they'll need to go to the spot of the kick, and they'll need to do that in order to have a good idea in case the kick goes out of bounds. The line judge will stay at the line of scrimmage until the ball is kicked, and then eventually they're going to flow downfield, and they're going to be looking for blocks and contact over the middle, make sure there's no illegal contact going on, and then eventually taking the spot either from the field judge, or they may have it on their own if the other team has a decent return. So the field judge, they'll be deep back with that pack of receivers, just slightly ahead of them, like I mentioned in the graphic. Once that kick is caught, if it's right directly in front of them, they can be the ones to go ahead and beanbag that area. And then other than that, they'll just need to officiate the play, looking for that contact. They'll be responsible for the blockers and any illegal contact that happens in that third of the field that's right in front of them. The back judge on the same side of the sideline as the line judge, who's all the way back at the line of scrimmage, remember. And then if the kick is caught in their spot, in their area, they'll beanbag that play, and then they're going to follow that play, and they can move up the middle of the field. And they'll do that because they'll need to see all 2/3 of that side of the field, so they can rule on blocking and illegal contact in that area. They'll be parallel to the deepest receiver, like I mentioned, and they'll have that rule on muffs. So remember, if somebody tries to catch a punt and they muff it or fumble it, when it hits the ground, the play will be dead at that point. You'll see that the punt was caught right there, and then this official looks to be the back judge, and he goes ahead and beanbags that spot. And because we have a good return there, they get all the way back almost to the line of scrimmage. The line judge is able to just take that spot on his own and doesn't need any assistance from the field judge. So in the case that a punt goes out of bounds, this is important as to why the referee needs to go to the spot of the kick. They'll be responsible for determining where that punt crossed out of bounds so they can determine where the next spot will be. The line judge or the field judge, typically it'll be the field judge all the way in the back. They will go to beyond where they thought the kick went out of bounds, and then they're going to walk back towards the referee along the sideline. And then when the referee thinks they are at the point where the punt went out of bounds, they're going to chop their arm and let the field judge or line judge know that that's where they can stop, and then eventually hold that spot so that they can move the pucks and put them there. And we'll see a clip from a professional game as to what that looks like. So we'll see the punt clearly went out of bounds. This would be our field judge or line judge in this scenario. And you'll see him start to walk back towards where the kick came from. And he is looking back towards his referee to see where the referee is going to stop him. When he stops him, he'll hold that spot so they can go ahead and move the chains, or in our case, it'll be the pucks. You can see he wasn't quite sure. He thought he had the spot. The referee said, nope, a little bit further. And then he stops him and chops it in. And that's where the next play will be going the other direction. That is the end of Module 8. Go ahead and take the quick quiz for this one, and then we'll get into some penalty basics in the next one.